Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Ektar solo Heroes of the Storm cast. I'm still Ektar, and tonight we've got a matchup between Hots Chads and Surely We Scale in Division C. Currently, as the standings are, Hots Chads are in 7th place, and Surely We Scale are in 2nd place in the division, so this outside chance of being a potential playoff preview match. Because we're actually getting into talking about the game before the draft has actually started. I know, what a surprise. We can talk about how we landed on Alterac Pass for map number 1. The coin toss was won by Surely We Scale, who opted for first hero pick. Hots Chats banned out Tomb of the Spider Queen. Surely We Scale banned out Garden of Terror. Hots Chats banned out Braxis Holdout, and Surely We Scale banned Volskaya Foundry. And Hots Chads took us to Alterac Pass for map number 1. I think both teams have said they're ready. No, Hots Chads have said that they're ready, and 1 second for Surely We Scale, which is why I don't normally start this until we're about ready to go into the draft. Let's see, what can we glean looking at each of the team's map bans? Hots Chads banned out the smallest map, and Braxis is like kind of a small map, but not really because of geometry. Surely We Scale banned out 2 maps that tend to go late and are quite large, so maybe they feel more comfortable on the smaller maps. And potentially, I think Hots Chads with their map selection, a little more interested in hero fighting than in the macro department, as Braxis is really kind of hard to come back from, and it doesn't force team fights exactly, and Tomb certainly doesn't force team fights. Both teams just kind of end up fighting as a matter of course, more than some of the other maps where you have specific objective phases that you want to fight over. Hell yeah, I saw Voriel. I'm, like, genuinely so excited for you guys. Like, not only did you pick up a win, you guys beat the literal undefeated team in the division. That's so sick. Because it is Friday, I did not have anywhere near enough time to look into trying to do scouting on these teams before the match, so we'll just kind of have to play things by ear, as we have Johanna getting banned out first, which I'm only surprised to see because Surely We Scale have first hero pick, and Johanna is incredible on most maps, but especially maps where you have a lot of spread out macro, because she gives you macro in the tank slot, which on a map as spread out as Alterac is quite valuable. Murden getting banned out is very interesting. Could be looking to choke tanks, but I think more likely it is banning out Surely We Scale, as in some previous series, they've shown a proclivity towards aggression, and Murden has that with the whoopin'. Li Ming getting banned out is definitely not a meta ban, as, like I've been kind of saying, macro is king on Alterac Pass. Li Ming does not do that especially well. Like, she's okay, but she's certainly no, well, a Tassadar or something. Not that Tassadar is a meta ban, but you know what I mean. Zagara, I think, is an interesting ban, because this is a map that does typically go late because the objective is so easy to stall for long periods of time. And Zagara really, really hits her power spike at 16 and again at 20. So, banning out Zagara, I think, makes a lot of sense. Plus, it is often the case where you'll have a traditional offlaner and a non-traditional offlaner in a lot of formats. So something like a Falstad, a Zagara, Sergeant Hammer even sometimes. Because it's hard to double soak on this map because they're so spread out. You end up either missing things, or you need to rotate people out to the camp. So, I like seeing that non-traditional offlaner being picked up by teams generally. Brightwing certainly helps in the soak department, as she is global, and having that in your healer slot, quite valuable, although she's been nerfed quite heavily, so certainly not as good as she used to be, with the continued and successive nerfs to the healing on her Z, I genuinely don't know how good of a spot Brightwing is in these days. If I had to guess, she's only good on the big maps, where you can get value out of her global presence. On the other side, we have Dahaka Junkrat coming out. Junkrat is so annoying for this map. He's one of my preferred ban targets because he can stall out an objective by himself for so long. Yo, you guys want a match? I didn't know you want a match. Let's go. Yeah, Junkrat, an incredible amount of stall. Plus the concussion mine gives you vision, so you know when you need to enact stalling. It's so strong. And then getting banned out, I'm actually pretty I was going to say I'm pretty surprised by it, but they already have Brightwing. I think Anduin would have been great into the style of comp that's currently coming out with the Anubarak getting picked up. Not having a traditional cleanse on the Brightwing could be to the detriment of Hots Chads if Surely We Scale are able to put a lot of CC onto a single target. Jaina Raynor. I love Raynor. Macro, obviously. He can serve in that non-traditional offlaner slot that you tend to see a lot on this map. Jaina is a lot of wave clear, but on a long cooldown. However, incredible teamfight potential if the enemy team has at least 2, preferably 3 people in melee, and oh my god, they drafted so hard into it. Alright, Jaina here looks crazy, because everyone but Junkrat wants to be Kona Cold range or closer, so watch to see Jep getting a ton of resets on that ability. Greymane, not the best of the non-traditional offlaners, but very good for the camp, so always a big fan of seeing it, and it tends to play into the CC layering blow-up style that we've seen before from Surely We Scale. And Stitch is coming out as the main tank. Stitch is a little more valuable on this map because Slam is wave clear, say it with me, but also because Hook is reasonably good on the objective points. Alright, let me see if we can get a prediction for this game going on. Who wins game number 1? Hot. Chads. Alright, because I remember to do it at a good time, 2 minutes on the prediction, not like the 5 minutes I end up doing when I forget, and do it just at the start of the draft. Big portrait synergy advantage in the favor of Hots Chads. Look at all of them beach Tychuses. Alrighty, spawning on the right-hand side. In the red trunks, they are Surely We Scale, with Ulysses playing the Junkrat, Kaga playing Rhaegar. Tie-dye tights on the Greymane, that's fun to say. Ravenex playing Dahaka, and all the way up in top lane, we've got Memezed looking to do a little bit of beetle cheese on that Anubarak. And on the left-hand side, in the blue trunks, they are Hots Chads, with Cyanide playing Brightwing, Chicken Meow playing James Laner, Mimius playing the Stitches, Codename Zero on Stitches, and Jep playing Jaina. I like the beetle cheese. This is by far one of the less traditional styles of early cheese, so we can see that Hots Chads certainly have not sniffed it out yet. They're not even attempting to respond until just now. And actually quite a bit of distraction coming out from Ravenex, taking a little bit of damage, but will be able to survive, and only the one hero is responding so far, and that is a lot of damage being done into the top lane. However, I think just as important, we've already got James Laner into bottom lane. Not going into amateur opponent. I'm very surprised to see the Ace in the Hole coming out. There are a lot of slows, but I've been talking about how important macro is on this map since we knew that it was Alterac Pass, and Ace in the Hole, not a macro talent. Let's see, we have Race Car Dahaka coming out, Beetle Build Anubarak, standard talents for Rhaegar, I would say, is that Deep Chill? Not Deep Chill, that's the 20. Lingering Chill. Xeon Brightwing, and Extra Wound Timers, that's what that talent is called. Got nerfed, I think, in the somewhat recent patch, but still pretty good. We talked earlier, much better camp potential coming out in Greymane Rhaegar than anything possible for the side of Hotshed's. Codename Zero lists lazily to the left and avoids that burrow charge. It's going to get out of there nice and okay. Heal up with the E. Which actually, we're realizing now, I don't remember what it's called. Wind Walk, that's right. Gives him that stealth, extra healing, and some movement speed. Another attempted engage. Cyanide getting the swag Brightwing play. Brightwing, I believe, the only hero in the game that can cleanse stuns applied to them with the trait, because it has kind of a... the effect ripples out. It doesn't apply instantaneously, so you can actually cleanse your own stuns as Brightwing. Very swag. Level 4 is in for both teams, so not a major advantage. Although, at this point, actually a decent little XP advantage coming out in the favor of Surely We Scale. Just getting the minions a little bit better, and I guess one tower, but that's not making the difference here. Got a big rotation down in the bottom lane. 4 people for the side of Hotshads are going to be pressing into this tower, doing what they can to recoup that damage that their opponents dealt to them. However, that once again only leaves Samuro in top lane, who gets stunned out, is able to walk on out of there and is going to get healed up. Yes, by Cyanide. Very nicely done. Tie-Dye Heights looking to get the kill there, but could not decloak the Samuro. Camps are coming up once again. We see Tie-Dye and Kaga heading over there once again. Junkrat picking up the mid-soak. Jep and Amemius doing the same. And this is what you often will see on this map, but for Nubarak-based reasons, the first objective is going to commence being charged over here for Surely We Scale. Nubarak, one of the few heroes that can actually solo cap the objective in a reasonable time. Although he does not have a burrow charge available, so he is in quite a bit of threat and will be first blood in this game. 1 life for 22.4 seconds of channel time is decent. Codename Zero, another one of the heroes that can actually solo channel without killing all of the Shrine Defenders, but just as proficient at destroying them and taking them out the slightly slower way. Jim Raynor is coming back. Looks like they had to Hearth, probably. Jeff is going to get bounced out. Not going to get bounced back in, however. That would have been pretty atrocious for the team. It is looking like a 5v4 right now, as Surely We Scale are trying to get this channel back, as Jim isn't quite at the team yet. Trying to stall here at a pretty nice fraction of seconds remaining. Ravenex does get the tongue. It gets cleansed, but there we go again, seeing the travel time of the Soothing Mist cleanse coming out there, in this case doing no favors to Stitches, and they were going to be the second kill. Cyanide doing what they can to stall, but they do not have the Q reset talent on force, and this is going to be first objective going over in favor of Surely We Scale. Camp is getting picked up by Chicken Meow, Mimias. Just kind of stepping in to get that globe, as they are stacking on 1, so... You know, just taking a quick detour there to make sure they can get a little bit closer to that 5% movement speed increment. Looked like we were having a wraparound potential, but deciding to come in and defend in the more straightforward manner. Mimias maybe looking for a hook, not an especially good target, and with extra beetles making that a little bit more difficult, is not going to find it, and Memezed is going to head off to mid lane, as only Jaina remains in top lane for the defense here, as most of the aggressive potential from Surely We Scale is in mid lane. Big heal coming up from Brightwing. Codename Zero is looking like they're going to get out of there, and kind of mixed focus coming up from Surely We Scale. Cyanide or Codename Zero took enough damage to go down there, but because it was split across the two heroes, they're both going to survive. Samuro making it into bottom lane to contend with the Dahaka, who thus far has been unmolested in the damage onto the bottom port, so 1 port will go down in this first objective phase. Jep doing what they can, getting some good damage, but not able to find any lockdown on the Memezed, who already used the burrow charge to move out. Bottom lane does go down. Really neither of these two threaten each other pretty much at all. At least not with the help from any additional heroes. Chicken Meow looking to see if they can make that happen, perhaps, but they are not, and both teams are going to pick up their 10s. Notable selections, we have Isolation instead of Adaptation. Certainly the more common, but it's not an auto pick in every game. Water Elemental instead of Ring makes sense given the comp. Blink Heal makes sense because it's Brightwing. Stitch is one of the only heroes in the game that I think has a big question mark on their level 10. Chicken Meow has been running. Cyanide maybe didn't have a Z available. The Cocoon, little unnecessary. Certainly the Riptire was probably unnecessary. Cyanide is not going to get picked off there. Ulysses does get engaged on, but it looks like Codename Zero is going to be the next to get taken out here. Stitches was probably trying to go for the Gorge that he did end up picking up. Didn't find a target that he was particularly in favor of, and is able to walk away. Slam Q. Ooh, that'll get him behind the wall. Unless Raven X can do something about it, and he can. Stitches baited himself and is going to get taken out as well. That leaves Midfort a very juicy target, perhaps, for Surely We Scale, deciding perhaps instead to take a camp on their side of the map. Siege Camp is in 20. We're going to grab Bot Soak with Ulysses. I think Surely We Scale could have just taken Midfort. Why are there so many people backing? I mean, you don't have tap, but you also weren't low. I am not the world's biggest fan of that decision. You definitely could have gotten more value than that. Alright. Next objective is coming up in the middle jungle area on the bot side of the map. Camps, like I said, are getting picked up by Kaga and Tie-Dye. Once again, using that macro advantage that they have and their very quick camp take potential. Their opponent's camp is just going to be available in a couple of seconds. Meme Z is running interference in the objective, while presumably looking for an opportunity to Beetle Cheese the channel duration once again. We've got a big hook, and this time there is no one around to save the Greymane. Chicken Meow is going to get stunned out. Tie-Dye Tights does try to use the Dark Flight to try and get in there, but is not able to do so, and that is a clean kill in favor of Hots Chads, who are also man-moding the objective. Like I said, Samuro, another one of the heroes that can do that. They're all over the map right now, getting advantages in... Well, I'd say, I don't want to say all three lanes because they're currently losing top, but getting the advantage in mid and during the bottom jungle. I don't know that there is an opportunity for Surely We Scale to contest on this objective. It seems like they have agreed, but all the members of Hots Chads have backed off and left the objective with 3 seconds left. Oh no! This camp is important, but it's not don't finish the objective important. That's a blunder, to use chess terms. Also just English words, but you know what I mean. Codename Zero is going to get taken out there. I think that is probably to the benefit of Cyanide, because porting into that would probably just have resulted in 2 kills instead of 1. Mimias is doing what they can to try to get Jaina out of there, but I think that's a bit of an overcommitment. Jep, big shield coming out from the level 13 talent, able to get a couple of E resets, but certainly nowhere enough to actually threaten any of the members of Surely We Scale. Memezed trying once again to Beetle Cheese the objective, is going to get interrupted several times, but Surely We Scale have their cooldowns coming up again. They can try to find an engagement here. They don't find exactly what they're looking for on a Jep. Never mind, they do get exactly what they're looking for with that kill. And yeah, just going to come back to that. Not finishing out on the objective is giving a huge opportunity for Surely We Scale to, in fact, scale into the late game. Codename Zero trying to cheese out the objective again because there's only that 3 seconds left, but Raven X is not going to allow it. And now we see Jim Raynor in top lane, Brightwing in bottom lane. It's looking like the members of Hots Chads have decided they can't try to make this defense in a way that doesn't put them into a worse position, so they're just going to have to eat this second objective phase, try to find value on the outlet. Cheap viewers. Get out of here. Gotta ban that. Why is it so much more annoying to ban using OBS? There we go. Ban. Alright, objective is coming down through mid lane. Not a talent tier advantage, but soon to be one in favor of Surely We Scale. Chicken Meow is committing the Hyperion. I think this is pretty good for the defense. You're not going to get a whole lot more value out than this, but a big Root is going to find Chicken Meow into an awful spot. Going to get taken out by the Riptire Brightwing by an auto attack moments later. That is the kind of damage I think that Shirley Skill were looking for and Hots Chads were hoping to avoid. Memezed did commit the Burrow Charge, but has it up just in time to get on out of there. Nice tempo. Ancestral was going to keep on the aggression in mid lane. Bottom lane is maybe getting defended. I think Codename Zero wants to try to get the tower to aggro to Ravenex, force him out of there. Looks like this keep is going to survive, so it's mostly into mid on can Hots Chads stop themselves from bleeding at any more kills and giving the opportunity for Shirley Weescale to push on to the rest of this keep. Looks like they're able to defend, but with bottom keep being as low as it is, the other 4 members are going to rotate in there and try to force the issue here. They're up 16, and a huge concussion mine is going to find Mimius into an awful spot. Codename Zero gets the counter kill, and that might be enough to stop Shirley Weescale from pushing onto this keep and taking it for their own. Codename Zero is out for blood, and with as grouped up as Shirley Weescale are, I can see the desire. It looks like with the Cocoon, though, that are going to be able to escape on out of here. No longer have a talent tier advantage. They're just going to back up, tap, and then presumably take their camp. And then I'm very interested to see what they do from there, because there's not a whole lot for them to do now. There's 2 bosses available, and Hots Chads aren't going to have easy vision of either of them. But it is in a neutral position. Codename Zero hasn't scouted this out quite yet. I'm actually going to pop onto their vision to see if they see anything. They can see the trap. They know that their opponents are there if they're paying enough attention. And if the rotations are coming out, and it looks like they are, we could find ourselves a fight. Codename Zero is going to get ported on by Cyanide. Boss is coming down very low. We don't have our tank here quite yet. And no one's on the point for either team. They've fully abandoned the boss in favor of just raw teamfight. It's starting to come out pretty well, I think, for Hots Chads, who get the boss steal. They got Rhaegar in the Gorge, and she is going to get taken out. A Nubarak blown up as well, and that is a very nice teamfight coming out from Hots Chads. They find Ulysses, but I don't think they have the damage ranges. They don't quite. But that is exactly what Hots Chads needed to get themselves back into this game. They were bleeding out buildings. They haven't taken one of their own quite yet, but that is about to change in top lane and maybe even in bottom lane, as once again Codename Zero using those clones to start the objective early, just like we saw Memezed doing with a Nubarak. Alright, boss still about 75%, pushing into top lane. 2 dead for Shirley Weescale. Trap is going to get pulled away and eaten safely by Memezed in a position that Ulysses will not be able to follow up on it. About half remaining on this boss. Fishing Hook coming out, not finding anything of value. And still people not coming up for Shirley Weescale. A lot of damage going into Tie-Dye Tights. I don't think they got a lot of reset. We do see the Cocoon engage coming in, so it looks like Shirley Weescale want to fight Cyanide. Barely going to get out of there. Riptire is not going to find a kill, but Chicken Meow is put into an awkward spot. Ravenex is able to get there much quicker than Codename Zero, and 3 kills very quickly coming out from Shirley Weescale, and they're looking to find more. Tie-Dye Tights is low, but not low enough. Codename Zero and Mimias doing what they can to try and get out of there, but I don't think both of them are going to be so lucky. Consolation objective coming up in favor of Hots Chads. Certainly you don't want to lose a team fight and the objective, so it's good that they did secure it, but you certainly want more heroes alive than they have presently. '20's in now for Shirley Weescale. We got the Rewind, Farseer's Blessing, Contagion, Cannonball, and to be determined. Let's see if I can go 5 for 5 on remembering what all these abilities are called. Oh, I don't remember that one, because it's not the Hunter's Blunderbuss, it's the other one, right? Oh, this one is Hunter's Blunderbuss. I thought this was the Warning Form one, but we were 5 for 5 on 20 names being remembered. Let's go. Tie-Dye Tights. Gonna die. That just happens with Hook Gorge sometimes. Sometimes you gotta pay the Stitches tax. And having already picked up that mid-keep, I think that Shirley Weescale are more than happy with that exchange. What am I saying? They picked up mid keep, their opponents took top keep. I'm forgetting who won the objective because the team fight was so convincing for Shirley Scale. Now that this objective is finishing up, though, we have to look at this game and make an assessment on just kind of where we're at. 3 buildings up for the side of Shirley We Scale, 2 buildings for Hotschads, as Hotschads are going to be able to take this boss. I don't think there's any realistic opportunity for Shirley We Scale to try and come in here and contest this. Is going to even up, 4 buildings for Shirley We Scale, but my earlier number was about to be correct, as there's no shot that this mid fort, bot fort, gets defended here, already abandoned even by the very survivable Dahaka, and it's a question of how much of a commitment do Hotschads put onto pushing with this. We see Jaina out taking the camp, we see Samura out clearing out mid, and the rest of their team follows suit, leaving the very healthy boss in bottom lane, but only going to be able to get a little damage. I doubt it even gets the entirety of the wall, as their opponents have fully disengaged. Gets picked up. Yeah, boss gets a tower. Doesn't even get the wall itself. But not a bad play. Pushing with it is both making it so you don't have the opportunity to take your own camp, but I think even more importantly means that they could have gotten wrapped around by their opponents. Ravenex is getting kind of low, has to pop all of his essence to get nice and topped up, but Jim Raynor is going to get blown up immediately. Cyanide with the incredible stasis blinking out right there, keeping them from taking any damage. However, Stitches still goes down. Very nice counter engage coming out for the side of Shirley Scale. Normally you think about your opponents engaging first and then counter engaging in that way, and I guess that is pretty much what happened. Ravenex was the one engaged on, and then the rest of the team did the engaging. Very nicely done from them. Codename Zero, I think more than anything just trying to threaten a little bit of macro pressure right now, not actually trying to do clone cheese, because that put him behind behind enemy lines with the insufficient buttons to escape. I say that, looks like it's going to go for it now, though. Is able to do so. Ravenex is trying to get the interrupt, isn't going to find it, but should be able to bully Samurata here with the help of Ulysses. We gotta go into big camera mode for this, as both objectives currently channeling is going to cease. Isn't going to cease, actually, for Hotschads. This is a very wide engagement area, as it took a 4-man commitment from Shirley We Scale to stop one Samuro. However, their opponents have not stopped channeling. It looks like Hotschads are going to try and make a last-moment defense. Memezed is putting himself into a good position. I don't think that they can try to step in here, though. 5 seconds, they get the channel stopped. Cocoon comes out. We got another blow up. Jeff is going to block it with the Ice Block this time. A big heal coming up from Cyanide. Not able to get enough raw numbers in, though. Speaking of raw numbers, the Ancestral comes in a big way. We have the back channel, but it's still 30 seconds out, which means that there's a long defense time that needs to come out from Hotschads to make this into a successful backdoor attempt. Stitches gets taken out. Memezed and Ulysses have gotten into poke Codename Zero out, and that is the end of the back cap. Back into the front channeling for Ulysses, and that is going to be objective going over in favor of Shirley We Scales. Their opponents are trying to take a camp, but it looks like this has been sniffed out, and with a 5 versus 2 engage potential, that is an easy camp steal for the side of Shirley We Scale, and this is a very scary boss push, objective push coming in this late in the game. Got a lot of engagement potential, and all of it is being put into Jim Laner, who did pop the self-unstoppable to get themselves out of there. Cyanide with the phase-out is going to get away from dodge for just a moment, but the rewind is going to secure that kill. No healer for the core defense. Arguably the least important individual hero role on the core defense, but they also don't have the tank. And Samuro is known for a great many things. Straight up fighting doesn't tend to be one of them. Core is already down below 10,000 health. Jane is going to get taken out, and with just the raw damage potential from Shirley We Scale, this is going to be game number 1 going in their favor. Alrighty, let's check out the numbers as we are always want to do after the end of the game. My favorite of which is, of course, siege damage. Raven X really kind of showing Dahaka what's up in that regard. Or trying to show Samuro what's up, rather, going up 50k over, I would say, normally one of the better siege heroes. I would expect Samuro to beat out Dahaka in the siege damage department most of the time. Looks like largely that is because of the hero damage disparity. Codename Zero spending a lot more time in the team fights, and Raven X spending a lot more time in the lane, as you can also see from the proportionally high XP value. Junkrat beating out Raynor is to nobody's surprise, I would think. And otherwise, I wouldn't say any especially interesting numbers there. Hero damage, Junkrat leading the charge there, I think, is also not a huge surprise. He's very safe, and Riptire, if you can get a couple of good hits, and especially in the early game, Ulysses was definitely doing that. Yeah, that'll make your numbers big, that's for sure. And I mentioned that actually during the cast yesterday? Feels like a lifetime ago. Typically, the team which receives the larger hero damage tends to have the higher healing number, but once again, the team that dealt more damage also healed more damage, so Kaga doing excellent work for their team. I guess the most interesting thing that I see now that I'm looking at the healers is Brightwing beating out Rhaegar in siege damage. Even not talenting into it, that does surprise me. Rhaegar, certainly a top 3 siege damage hero, and Brightwing certainly is not. Ariel is quite good, and Alexstrasza is good if left totally unmolested, because you can get those E resets. But yeah, that's a bit of a surprising one for me. Rip to whomever bet in the prediction for Surely We Scale, whose points have now been scattered to the wind as nobody voted in favor of Surely We Scale. I may have said that wrong, but I think you know what I'm saying in actuality. No one won off of this prediction, but people put points in, so if there's a bet, somebody should probably bet to the other side, just so the channel points go somewhere. Alrighty. As I'm wont to do when I am especially solo casting in between maps, I like to ask, given the way that map number 1 played out, what would I expect to see from the losing team to turn the second game into a winning game for them? What do I think that they did particularly well? They split up very well. They macroed well. Granted, we saw that Dahaka ended up having more siege damage and XP. I think they did a better job of splitting up and taking small skirmishes around the map. But once you got into the 4v4, 5v5 arena, I think that's where Surely We Scale was at their strongest. So I would kind of expect to see a map that plays out in a more split-up fashion for map number 2, if in fact Hots Chads decided for map pick. And in that regard, Towers of Doom for game number 2. Seemingly as chosen by Hots Chads, but I will verify. Does this meet with my cognitive biases? Yeah, kinda. Especially for the couple of objective phases that have the guaranteed 3 towers, which I think are the 4th and 7th objective phases. You tend to be very scattered, have fights happening all over the map. It's a little bit more chaotic, but at the same time, it does encourage teams to group up and fight over remaining objectives. So I think this... I don't think if you are Surely We Scale, you're particularly upset about this map pick. It does play out, obviously, quite differently from the previous map. On Alterac, you'll often see objective phases that last for a very long time because of how much you have to commit to actually securing an objective with most team compositions. You know, Samuro and Anubarak notwithstanding. on this map, and unlike every other map, the objective doesn't get you closer to winning the game. Hear me out. I know it's the only way that you win the game. Hear me out. On every other map, as is also true on towers, the objective, the goal to win the game is to destroy the enemy's core. Normally the way you do that is you get successive pressure on the map, you kill buildings, which gives you macro advantages, and eventually translate that into being able to push onto the enemy's core and win. You get successive advantages throughout the course of the game that makes your ultimate core push successful. This map doesn't do that. The objective gets you closer to the game ending, but doesn't get you closer to winning. Because it doesn't affect the battleground in any form or fashion, and this is the only map where that's true. So, tends to play out a little differently in that every objective has the chance to go to either team somewhat evenly. You always have the chance to bring the map back into the same configuration it was at the start of the game. With the asterisk, that after 12 minutes the forts turn into keeps and all of that, but you can get the map back into having the same number of buildings. It's very weird. We've not talked about hero bans yet, and we're not even going to quite yet, because this is also the only map in the game that still features the old XP system. If you are unfamiliar, destroying a fort or a keep on most maps does not grant you any immediate XP. It grants you a multiplier to the passive XP that teams get over time. So even if you don't pick up any minions, the passive XP is going to level you up slowly. As you take forts and keeps, each one that you destroy gives a scaling, I believe, 10% increase to the passive XP gained after that point. On Towers of Doom, as used to be the case on all maps, destroying a fort or a keep gives you an immediate lump of XP, but doesn't give you that stacking over time. So, yeah, it's just different. This is the way that Heroes of the Storm was meant to be played back in the day, and then they did all the changes and stuff, and yeah, old man complaints coming out. Alrighty, we have 5 heroes being selected at this point, 4 of which were represented in the previous game in some form or fashion. Zagara was banned out, Anduin was banned out, Anub'arak and Greymane were played by the people that are currently indicating that they intend to play them, with only the Azmodan coming in as an anomalous pick, and anomalous it certainly is. I can't remember the last time I saw an Azmodan in a game where people were trying to win that wasn't in ARAM. He's just hard to get value out of in a lot of cases, because he starts the game weak and doesn't typically scale to incredibly strong levels. He just kind of scales to the level that other heroes are at. Unless you can get him scaled very, very quickly. I don't know. He's also something of a late-game hero, as is Zagara, so going double late-game DPS for Hots Chads. Towers does tend to go late because you spend a lot of time trading objective phases.
I heed the voice of Elune.
Huh. Samuro I get. Totally on board with Samuro. Tyrande, owls are nice for slowing down the objective. However, the biggest parts of Tyrande's power budget come in the fact that she has a ranged stun and an armor cut, which tends to favor blow-up style compositions, which Azmodan a little bit is, but blow-up tends to be more important in the early game, and Azmodan needs to scale, and Zagara is awful with blow-up. Alright, draft strategy, I don't know what that is. Though that is a collection of heroes out from Hots Chads. Definitely a lot of fan favorite heroes. I don't see how it comes together into a cohesive unit. On the other hand, I can't think of a more straightforward composition than was drafted by Surely We Scale. We have, you know, 2 ranged stuns on a stick in the form of Leap and Burrow Charge, Anduin to be the 3rd stun delivery, and then damage. Greymane Junkrat, incredible amounts of damage. This is pick hero, delete hero, the comp is as much as I can figure it out. Having been flabbergasted, I did not get the prediction started yet, so you'll be seeing that in 30 seconds. Go ahead, tell us which team that you want to win. Is it going to be Hots Chads, who are spawning on the left-hand side in the blue trunks with Jep playing the Azmodan, codename Zero, once again on Samura. Mimias has gone on to a different role, I believe, into the Tyrande. Chickameow is on Chen and Zagara, being played by Cyanide. Or do you want to see Surely We Scale take it home in a 2-0 fashion as they are spawning in the red trunks with Kaga playing Anduin with Outrunning with Scissors. Tie-Dye Tights is on the Greymane. We got Ulysses on the Sonya. Memezed once again looking for some Beetle Cheese, this time in bottom lane, and Ravenex is playing the Sonya. However, Beetle Cheese was spotted out by the Owl, and it looks like instead of defending, we have mutually assured destruction coming out as we see Cheese from Azmodan and Zagara into the top lane. Very early race advantage actually kind of coming out in favor of Hots Chads, as it took quite a long time for their opponents to actually commence sieging. Counterpoint Greymane, very good at sieging. Azmodan, kind of whatever at sieging by comparison. As we've got the entirety of the top wall going down, we've got Mimias doing what they can to keep vision and do damage, I guess. Codename Zero is able to get on out of there because Samurai can blink out of roots, because that's fair. We're just going to start this game off with 2 teams taking forts. This is the world we're living in. We didn't even commit to the fort! I don't even know if that's right. No, the... I don't know. I just don't know. Surely We Scale are going to stick around long enough to commit to taking their fort back. Ravenex is going to make sure that top does not suffer the same fate, and Codename Zero is going to get us back into looking at something that looks like what we expect to see on this map, as we have the camps being taken up and the full map vision in favor of Hots Chads. I haven't even shown talents yet because this is a weird start to this game. Hello, Irby. How have you been? Ulysses, very unfortunate for Surely We Scale, just slightly mistiming the concussion mine, is going to allow Hots Chads to take their own camp. I don't think that there's a realistic opportunity for these Pumpkin Sappers to get pushed all the way onto the goal line, but if we find a big engagement onto Cyanide, maybe there is a chance. Mimias not able to use the Illusions Chosen to get them topped up in time, and there's just not particularly good and consistent siege damage on the side of Hots Chads. Jep is getting pushed back in. We got the Sappers getting very close, but Mimias is close enough to make sure that they don't actually step any more forward. Chen taking a lot of damage, and there we go. We did not have any additional shots going in. I take it back. One of them must have gone in because we're at 39 core shots, or core health. I've never seen the core health go down before the first objective before, so mark that off your bingo cards. Actually, someone tell Gilly Sharp that should be on a bingo card. Get a core shot before the first objective. Alright, Cyanide and Jep and Mimias all stepping up to get the same interrupts. Not quite getting the coordinated interrupts I think that they would have preferred to see. Chicken Meow using the fact that there's very little peel to just absolutely ruin the backline. Ulysses is able to self-peel, gets very low, and Tyrande is going to secure that kill. Very nicely done by them, and that is going to be a pair of channels going over in favor of Hots Chads, as only one in favor of Surely We Scale, who find themselves at approximately a half-level deficit. Alright, I think this game has resumed some level of normalcy in so much as a game that has main tank Chen can be considered normal. Alright, Samurai doing what they can to get the mid soak. We do have something that passes for offlaners double soaking mid-top. Sonya's not incredible for it, and Samuro isn't either pre-10. Both teams are working on taking their camps here. That is the big advantage of Tyrande broadly, is that the Owl is just such a strong ability. Having vision control, especially on this map, is so crazy strong. That's like the best thing about even Zagara on this map, is you can just help to control vision. I think a lot of teams underestimate how powerful vision control is. So, Tyrande being sure you can do that, like, the long-range interrupt is nice and all, the stun is normally very nice, less so on this map than normal, but vision control is really good. Let's see, any interesting talent choices coming out here? I'm, like, the world's biggest hater of even-handed blessings. I think it's his worst talent on one by far, even if mathematically and historically that's not true. Chen talents, I don't know them. Other than that, I think this is a pretty standard-looking choices coming out. Is this Envenomed? It is Envenomed. That's what you would expect to see. Codename looking to get an interrupt. I don't know if he gets there in time. Does get there in time. Just barely going to get a little bit of stall in there. Isn't going to find anything like a super value. Means that getting kind of low. Kaga having to pop the Desperate Prayer as a tempo heal. And, you know, with tie-dye being as low as they are as well, this is just kind of mid lane, or bot lane bullying coming out from Hotschads. As much as I'm, you know, clowning on the main tank Chen, at this exact moment, it's a little bit hard for Surely We Scale to get past him and do something. At the same time, his E makes it really hard for the rest of the team to get past him and deal damage. But with the 10s coming on, the Cocoon is going to make that a substantially easier task, and that is going to be a very convincing kill onto the Tyrande, who is not going to be able to get Chicken Meow out of dodge. He does pop. I need to click on chat. I can't remember what his abilities are called, man. But he's dead now, so I can't even do that, can I? Stagger. That's what his E is called. Jep is in a pretty rough spot. Looks like Neemzed wasn't able to find a body block, but Ulysses has got your back with the concussion nade cutting off his retreat path. That's going to be another kill going on in favor of Surely We Scale Harlow, using now the power of that Greymane to absolutely tear this keep down, fort down for the second time this game. Cyanide is pressuring in top lane, trying to get some counter damage instead of trying to help defend, and with Ravenex on the Sonya, it's not a particularly good job for them to try and, I was going to say defend on that, but who needs to defend against the enemy heroes when you can just kill them? I would like to see Codename pick up this port in top lane. There's really nothing Ravenex can do about it. Simultaneously, there's not a lot that Hotschads can do about this bottom objective. Bottom pair of objectives, even. So at the very least, going to try to minimize the number of shots they're taking. Memes that taking a lot of damage here, but I don't think that there's a sufficient engage potential for Hotschads to actually find anything of substantial value. Sonya's coming in, no leap available, but still has the stun. That is another kill combo engaged, but not finding the ultimate kill, and that is going to be one hell of a kill on the tie-dye tights, as Kagamine could not get into position for the Leap of Faith. The game is weird, man. I've had weird games across the last 2 nights, and I'm so here for it. Codename Zero doing what they can to try and pressure mid lane. Top is likely going to be picked up before the next objective phase, which looks like it's just going to be a single altar in the middle bot jungle area. But mid fort is actually quite low as well. This is where I'd like to see Hotschads try to put their pressure onto, which, to be fair, they can put pressure on mid and bot simultaneously, keeping the 4-man in bottom lane, and using the Samuro, who has the substantially better wave clear, to try and pressure on mid, especially because Sonya has been stuck in top lane for so long. Another big engagement attempt is going to find purchase onto the Zagara. Hotchad's looking to try to find a counter-aggression onto Meme Zed, but nowhere near having the damage numbers to find it at this point. Mimias is going to be the next to fall here. We did see that mid-fort getting picked up, and Zagara, or not Zagara, Sonya still hasn't been able to clear out in top lane. They just don't have the individual pressure or the wave clear, given that we went into the leap. We're going to get a counter fort in bottom lane for the side of Surely We Scale as the objective is coming up. Jep is just going to try to interrupt here, although dropping the Demonic Invasion is going to secure a 6 cap, but it doesn't have time to get a shot off. Very nicely done coming out from both teams. Hotchad's, I think, getting the slightly better end of the engagement here, as Sonya is just not able to get the siege damage in. Trying to pick up mid and bot on repeat, but Samurai has just been running circles around them this whole game. I love when we have inverted bottom, by the way. Red team controlling the blue and blue team controlling the red. It's very funny to me. Ravenex does have the leap available. Might try to look for a kill onto Codename Zero if they take any more damage here. Both teams do get their own forts back. But it looks like with this fort still alive, Ravenex is just a little bit too scared to try to make that engagement happen. Both of the forts falling, and this is like what I was talking about during the draft. A lot of buildings went down, but when everything is said and done, both teams have their own buildings left and nothing more. 16s are now online. What the heck? Is that Trample? You never see Trample. It's so weird. A lot of damage going to Chicken Meow. Didn't have the opportunity to pop Stagger immediately. Actually able to get Cyanide on a dodge this time, only hitting the Grand Main with the Devouring Maw. And that looks like a lot of R's getting pushed and a full disengage coming out from both teams. Moving on, we've got the attempted camp invade coming out from Surely We Scale, who finds another Burrow Charge engage onto Cyanide, but is going to get kept up by Chicken Meow and Mimias. It is a full 5v4 in bottom lane. Junkrat finds a decent little bit of damage. A nice dunk coming out from Jep. Does not have the Tide of Sin to empower those dunks as we saw earlier, instead opting for the Demonic Invasion. Top lane is going to continue to get pressure by Codename Zero, but this is the second and final triple objective phase of the game. We see the 4-man commitment into bot from both teams, and then the offlaners out for both teams as well. Codename Zero trying to get a lot of damage in the top. A lot of damage. Kagamine is going to pop the Light Bomb purely for the shielding. Cocoon is available, not having committed it quite yet. There it goes onto the Chen, and big damage going into Mimias. They're going to get taken out. Chicken Meow is up once again, looking to try to maybe make something happen, but in a 3v4 fashion, I don't think they're going to be able to find anything of particular value. Codename Zero is just playing the fool onto Ravenex here, just stalling for an unbelievably long time. We do see Kaga getting the channel there. 4 more shots going in favor of Surely We Scale. It is 28-17. Finally, Samuro actually went down. Looking at the cooldowns, that must have been a leap kill onto an overly aggressive Samuro. You love to see it, even when you don't see it. Why are these kills happening? This is supposed to be the part of the game where nothing is happening, but there's still kills going out all over the place. I think as we start to get into the later phases of the game, Surely We Scale are not going to allow the shenaniganry coming out from Hotchads to proceed any longer. Chicken Meow is going to find this camp in bottom lane. I fully expect we're just going to see them keg Ravenox off the point. We do have Jep has rotated into the top lane, but not going to be able to find anything of substantial value. They do have the Demonic Invasion. I wouldn't hate if they just, dropped that and committed to taking out that top keep. As we see another kill going on the Mimias in the mid lane. We have a bit of a wraparound from Chicken Meow. They don't have the keg available quite yet. We did have the kill coming out on the Meme Zed. Very nicely done by Codename Zero. An overly aggressive stay from Surely We Scale is going to get punished. And saving mid keep is a very big deal at this phase in the game. They want to have that available, if for nothing else to minimize shots being taken, but certainly to set them up onto future objectives. Chicken Meow looking very aggressive for a Chen that doesn't have an ultimate. And they're going to get taken out very hard. Basically every heroic getting pressed on the side of Shirley Scale, and they're going to use that just to finish the camp at this point. Samuro is going to take the top, as the bottom is going to try to get retaken for the side of Hots Chads. With their tank dead, certainly nothing that they can do to stop this objective from being channeled by their opponents. Outside of, possibly rotating their Samuro, but I think that they are better sort of doing what they're doing and minimizing the number of shots they're going to take. As, Zagara has been pretty good at just poking these buildings down. I don't know if they'll be able to do it before Kaga is able to get the channel here, though. Ooh, with the owl hitting, maybe, actually. Nah, it's still gonna go. We did see mid go down, though, so only 3 shots getting taken out. Hots Chad's really doing what they can to just sort of stanch the bleeding coming out here. Their tank is available, is going to come in through the tunnel, it looks like. So they're not terribly far away. Codename Zero is going to get left on. There's the 20. Area Crater is going to find that kill there. Tie-Dye Type's looking for the engage onto Mimias. Isn't going to find anything. The keep is back in favor of the blue team. If they're able to keep their opponents here long enough, they might be able to find something off of that, but not going to be able to do it. Okay. I can never remember which one is Ice Blade and which one is Shooting Star. I had to check. The Tyrant Maw is a very interesting pickup. You don't tend to see that on Zagara. It's almost always the Brood Mother? Is that what her 20 is called? I don't remember how to find out in the server interface. There it is. Big Maw is going to find out on both of the damage dealers, but with Jep and Cyanide backed out, I don't think they're going to be able to find enough damage to make the engagement worth it. It is kind of a 5v, but the members of Hots Chads are split out pretty far, so I don't think they're looking for it. Broodmother's the Banley. Pack Instincts is the talent I was thinking of. That is the one you tend to see the most often. We do have a full Owl build, which is why Ulysses got chunked so hard from just that one ability. Codename Zero looking to try to find Ulysses, comes in very straightforward and decides, you know what, a Nubarek, you're weak enough I can engage on too. Kaga is going to miss out on the stunning Censure, which was talented into at level 20. And with the members of Surely We Scale getting kind of low and being up a significant number of core shots, decide that they don't want to try and make this engagement happen, but going to take 6 shots off of that objective, getting much closer to parity here. Sony is trying to take mid back, but isn't going to be able to do it before bottom falls. Do they get a 6 cap shot off this time? I think they might get 1. Still not even getting 1, even from the second 6 cap. Looks like it is a full 5-man rotation into top lane to try and flip that back over before their opponents are able to flip mid, and they're certainly going to be able to do so. They don't have the power of the Empowered Demonic Invasion to take this one back particularly quickly. The minion wave is already destroyed. However, Surely We Scale are here to defend in time. They don't have their Sonya or Greymane. Yes, this is kind of an odd-numbered fight. Big combo onto the members of Hots Chad. Sonya leaps in and finds absolutely nothing but teammates in the Maw here. A lot of buttons getting pushed. Codename was able to, I think, port past this wall and actually ensure that those shots go in. Very heads-up play coming out from them, bringing us down to only a 5 core shot differential. This is still a game, folks, and it's a game that has buildings in favor of Hots Chads. We could still find ourselves into a game 3 as we see Surely We Scale rotating just behind the whole time. They can't take buildings as quickly as their opponents can, and it's starting to show. Next objective is up in 22 seconds. The Demonic Invasion will be up before that. We see bottom getting picked back up in favor of Surely We Scale, but top is going to fall in the same amount of time, and it's just ring around the rosy. I think, though, Surely We Scale might be setting up for a really heads-up play just to try and get the instant channel here. In fact, their opponents aren't even going to defend. This is so funny. They're going to try and get the top objective. They have a lot of potential interrupts. We see the first one coming in. Didn't set up 2 body blocks. Is giving some opportunity. We see some damage coming into Ravenex. Channel is going to finish up for Kaga, but can Surely We Scale find anything for their delay? They don't find anything of particular value. Codename is getting a little bit caught, but is fine. We see 3 potential shots going in here, and it doesn't look like anyone from the side of Surely We Scale are going to be able to get there in time. This camp is actually a trade-up on the objective. Surely We Scale got 2 shots with the objective, and they lost 3 from camps. Fight is coming out. Meme's at an awful spot, but a big shield coming out from that light bomb. Once again, Area Crater not finding anyone of particular value, but Chicken Meow Chen is going to kill Chen. A very large Riptire coming out, not securing any kills, but we see the Dunk finally securing that kill onto Greymane, and a 2-for-1 trade in favor of Surely We Scale. This game is getting out of hand. Codename Zero is Samuroing out of his mind, trying to chase down Ravenex here, and there's really nothing that Surely We Scale can do right now. They have to back up. They're going to try to take mid back over, but they don't do it especially quickly. Samuro and Asmodan are going to take bottom back just after mid gets flipped back over. And what does Surely We Scale do from here? They go back into top lane to try to flip back that keep back over. By the time they get started on that, Samuro's going to be working on mid. This is the ring around the Rosy Championships of all time. That's what this is. And there's a camp pushing in that's going to get pushed in by Jep. So even though they're taking buildings at approximately the same speed, Surely We Scale are just slowly starting to lose out on control of this game. Mid is going to get flipped back over once again, so 5 versus 1 building. This is game potential for the side of HotsChads if they get both objectives or one objective and a boss. Both objectives are going to get taken. Actually, not immediately. Kaga is under pressure, but Codename Zero is going to fall here as they get caught out. Ravenex not finding the stun, but Kaga is in a pretty rough spot here at a very low number of hit points. Mimias is going to get chunked down. Kaga is low enough that it looks like they'll be taken out by Chicken Meow. Not actually going to be able to get it. 3-for-0 kill in favor of Surely We Scale, who are going to get the objective here for 2 shots, and boss is going to be another 4, which means it'll be a 1-3 after this objective gets picked up, or after this boss gets picked up, rather. Camp available in bottom lane in 30 seconds. I would like to see HotsChads go for it, as there's not a whole lot that they can do in most of the other places of the map right now. Boss, actually, it was only 2 shots. I miscounted earlier. My apologies. So it's 2-3 here. So it technically isn't next objective wins the game. There's a world where HotsChads could have so many buildings that Surely We Scale doesn't win off of the objective. It's very unlikely, though. And with all of the keeps getting picked back up for their respective teams with the incredibly long death timers, it's almost certainly next objective wins the game for either team. And we've seen, by and large, Surely We Scale have played that part of the game better. Ravenex is definitely going to leap onto the Sagara here. We get the Maw, but the whole rest of the team is there to make sure that that kill gets secured. Is there a world where HotsChad still wins this? Yes, it's the world where this camp pushes in through top lane. This camp is going to do nothing of value. I think that's the only play that HotsChads can do right now, is try to push this in and try to stop both of these from getting pushed in as well. Chen being up here is so smart. He's got the keg. He can push Ravenex out. Oh, but the equally smart play coming in from Ravenex is going to stop it as well. Ulysses is here for the defense. We've got top being channeled, going to get defended. Samuro doing what they can down here. Top is cleared. No longer an issue for Surely We Scale. Jep making sure that they can't get blown up here. Bottom lane is going in favor of HotsChads as they're going to find maybe a kill on the tie as they're getting forced out by Codename Zero. They get the kill. They get an owl reset. Mimias is going to try to find it onto both of them. Kaga is very low. Gonna get cocooned, though. Mid lane, Ravenex is dueling Chicken Meow. I don't think that's going to find favor for either team. Mimias has been in that objective for ages. Comes out and immediately pops the R, gets the kill. Ulysses, no resets. It's 2v1 here. Ravenex is going to lose. That fight goes in favor of HotsChads, so they're going to get the channel and win the game. Oh my god. I've had the best games this week. Oh my goodness. Hoku, I'm so glad you're here. You're going to find a clip somewhere in this game. What was that? Holy cow. All right, as they say on nope, we're not gonna go there. I can't remember what the thing is called, so the statute of limitations on that joke being effective have run out. Sonya and Asmodan winning in siege damage, Samuro keeping up as well. Basically siege damage on everyone that you kind of expect them to. So everyone doing their job. Remember, siege damage is everyone's responsibility. So I like to see all 10 heroes doing well for their respective, well, hero. Hero damage number is actually very close between Ulysses and Zagara, whom's level 16 we never actually spoke about being the Jagged Barbs, giving that extra auto attack range, but not percent damage on all of your roaches and hunter killers. I don't get it. If Cyanide comes in for a winner's interview, if they win that game 3, I'm gonna ask. And then the heal numbers massively in favor of Kagamine, which you would expect. Tyrande does not pump out the same kind of numbers as Anduin, but still I would think it'd be a little bit closer than that. Tyrande is an effective solo healer in many compositions that don't include a preponderance of blinds, but I suppose when you look at the self-healing numbers, it starts to make a little bit more sense. There just wasn't as much of a need for healing on the side of Hots Chads as Surely We Scale did. Alright. If I am Surely We Scale, and I think that we teamfight better than Hots Chads, I want to go to Infernal Shrines. Questions? Yeah, I didn't think so. Other maps that you could do similar things on. Let me check the drop down. Sky Temple, I guess, but that's a little weirder and swingier. Cursed Hollow, I guess, although that kind of plays into Hots Chad's more weird style. Battlefield of Eternity. If we don't go to Battlefield of Eternity or Infernal Shrines, I will be pretty dang surprised, I'm not going to lie. Well, that's not true. If we don't go there, it's because Surely We Scale have opted for first hero pick, and the Chads have taken us to one of those other maps. Alright, I'm actually going to go and put us onto an intermission screen because I need to use the little caster's room before game 3, so we will be right back. And we're back, finding ourselves on Infernal Shrines for game number 3. But if you are just showing up and wondering, Ektar, how did we get to Infernal Shrines? What is map 3? I've got you, friends. Surely We Scale won the coin toss and opted for first hero pick. Hots Chads banned out Tomb of the Spider Queen because they don't like fun, and Braxis because they like winning. And Surely We Scale banned out Garden of Terror because they like winning, and Volskaya Foundry because they don't like fun. The first map was chosen by Hots Chads, which was Alterac Pass. The second map was chosen by Hots Chads, which was Tomb of the Spider Queen. And Hots Chads chose map number 3, which is Infernal Shrines. We got a ready coming out from Jep. We don't yet have readies coming out for the side of Surely We Scale. Did I pay out the prediction yet? I didn't. And we actually had channel points being bet. You love to see it. I can't remember the last time I had a channel point prediction that didn't have a 100-0 payout. The Chads are hot tonight. Chads are so hot right now. How was that? Was that a passable Mugatu impression? It's not one I've ever tried before, I don't think, so you'll have to let me know how I did. Do I think that there were clips from Game 1 for Hoku? Yeah, probably. I mean, I think that Anubarak is a very clippable hero because big stun make excitement. And, spoiler alert, there was an Anubarak played in both of the games so far, so look out for it. Ooh, actually there was a boss invade that was pretty good. That might be clippable. Alright. Given that Hots Chads chose the map that I said that Surely We Scale should take, what does this mean? Because the game that was won by Surely We Scale was very out-of-the-box thinking, shall we say, coming out from the Chads. And the map that they lost was a lot more straightforward from both teams. But this is a pretty straightforward map most of the time. I wonder if they're going to try and do something a little spicy to put Surely We Scale on the back foot. Anubarak getting banned out is interesting, considering they played it in the last 2 games. Acknowledging that Anubarak is a very strong hero, and they don't want to see it. And Johanna was banned out previously, at least in Game 1. I remember Jo was banned Game 1 by Surely We Scale. I don't recall if they banned her Game 2. I don't remember most of the early parts of the draft of Game 2, because the ending was so wild. Who do we ban out here? Hogger. I mean, if you're not going to play him, but at the same time, that means you're not playing him, or making your opponents ban him is the other thing. It must be that Raven X doesn't feel confident on Hogger, because he, even with the nerf he got, I think 2 patches ago, still a very first pickable hero, especially on this map. With Muradin and Anubarak getting banned out, those are
I stand ready.
Probably the 2 best light bomb delivery services in the tank slot. And Johanna just the best tank in the tank slot. So we're going to have to see how Surely We Scale are looking to adjust their playstyle around. And Vala, arguably, not much of an adjustment. She can be played very aggressively, especially if you go into the Q build, where you have a lot of single-target burst damage. She can always just be a late-game inevitability hero, because Farflight Quiver is bonkers. We see the Samuro coming out for the 2nd game in a row. Lot harder to do the kinds of stuff that was done in the previous map. Mostly because the forts and keeps don't regenerate, but also because the rotation distances are a lot shorter, So you're not going to have these long interludes where it's just offlaner v offlaner without any interruption from the 4-man. And you have to extend yourself a lot farther on the map to do it. So we're going to have to see if Codename Zero can be a little more effective in the main team fights as opposed to getting that split push value. Diablo, I think, makes a ton of sense for Surely We Scale. And also just for Infernal Shrines. It's really good with the geometry of the objective points. And Meme Zed, he's an aggressive little guy, so he wants to go in. I don't know how large Meme Zed is. For clarity. I don't know what they look like in real life. Zagara, I find a bit of a puzzling choice coming out from Surely We Scale. Obviously, she gives more macro pressure than most of the heroes that they've shown so far, which I'm a fan of. But that means you've got another hero that likes to go late. Vala obviously doesn't have to be played towards the late game. She is good throughout most of the game. She just wins after 20. And Zagara isn't great before 16, but then she becomes really strong. So we'll have to see how they end up utilizing her talents. Chromie, I like Chromie. I like having... what's the term? I like having an anchor on these kind of maps which have a lot of mid-bot rotating. So Chromie making it hard for the opponents to push in, although admittedly with Zagara minions, Chromie will be less effective in that regard. Whitemane is an interesting choice. What the heck do I think Whitemane is doing here other than has a cleanse for Chromie and Varian? I mean, if Varian is going to make the engage happen, then Whitemane, unless they're being engaged on, will have a target to throw her spells at, so could be reasonably effective. You just tend to see her against more dedicated blow-up. Greymane, good for camp, good blow-up off Varian, taunt. Love to see it, and I think Blaze is just one of the best offlaners, full stop, so I'm never unhappy to see him here. Alright, we're going to throw up that prediction for game number 3, your last opportunity for gambling this evening, at least as far as NGS casts go, because we are the only match that is happening tonight, and ipso facto, the only cast, and because I've done it twice in a row already, we're not going to start talking about Surely We Scale. We're going to talk about Hots Chads, who are spawning on the left-hand side in the blue trunks, with Codename Zero on their now signature Samuro. We've got Mimias playing the Stukov. We got Jep playing Greymane, Chicken Meow on Monochrome Variant, and Cyanide playing the Chromie. Now, on the right-hand side in the red trunks, we have Surely We Scale with Memezed playing Diablo Raven X on Blaze, Kaga playing the Whitemane, Tie-Dye Tights is on the Vala, and Ulysses on the Queen of the Zerg herself, Zagara. I don't want your cheap viewers. Get out of here. I want your most expensive viewers. Don't come in here with these subpar quality viewers. Only the best here at the NGS casts. Level 1 talents. Actually W build coming out from Vala. I can't remember the last time I saw a W Vala that wasn't in ARAM. We've actually got a different build coming out from the Samuro. That is not what I was expecting to see here. I have no idea what the build diversity is like on Samuro. He seems like a very one-dimensional hero to me, so if any Samuro aficionados are in the chat, please explain this derivation. Also, someone please explain to me why Chromie's in top lane against Blaze right now. Jep is going to survive. Actually, the level scaling and getting him a nice little heal there, keeping him well topped off. It looks like I think that we're just going to have a 1-3-1 coming out from Hots Chads, making sure they basically never miss any soak in mid lane and top lane, and maybe allowing them to get some value elsewhere, as their opponents are more free to rotate. You don't tend to see this, because it makes your bottom lane hero more gankable, but when your bottom lane hero is Samuro, well, you only ever die by choice. Like, Samuro shouldn't ever get killed, in my opinion. He's crazy. We do have Cyanide rotating in. Perhaps this was just a really long con onto getting the 4-man back together. Memezed looking for an engage, gonna pop the soul shield. and be nicely topped off. We do see Samuro rotating up into top lane now. 4s are online from Surely We Scale. Not yet for Hots Chads, which is making them very reluctant to try and push onto this bottom camp, as they don't have a hero yet. Check him out is going to go ahead and grab the shield. They have the vision, Crumby providing it. An engagement going out onto Zagara, very deep into the backline. A huge amount of sand being dumped into the backline. They get 2 kills at the cost of a bottom camp, and that is certainly in favor of Hots Chads. Waiting until the last possible moment to find that engagement, but importantly, they did find it. Are you happy, Raka? I'm watching the offlane. It's not even an offlane focused map. Ravenex finding a little stun onto Codename Zero. Nothing of huge value, though. Look at them just kind of standing in here, auto-attacking on each other. What gameplay. Alright. Objective has now been started by Surely We Scale. We see all 4 of the non-offlane heroes are here already, and it's going to get them a very early start. Nice little, about 12 Shrine Minion advantage before Hots Chads are even able to step up here. The objective, rather the camp in top lane, could end up leading to some good value if this objective phase goes long. But with the damage that is coming out from both teams, I don't really expect it to go long. Nemia's in a bit of a rough spot. Kaga in a pretty rough spot as well, as Stukov did find the weighted pustule, able to force the members of Surely We Scale back out of the objective area. This camp is starting to push, like, in earnest. And there isn't anyone especially good for the side of Surely We Scale at just kind of sniping out the Shrine Monkeys. They're going to need to force their way back onto this point. Jep is having to back out for mana. This is the worst possible time for that. Cyanide was backed off as well. That is going to be not quite a kill going on onto Tie-Dye, but it did buy them enough space to finish out the objective. Yeah, the backing out for mana for Chromie and Greymane at the same time really just happened to line up with when Surely We Scale were going to try and push back in and let him get on the objective. But they did a... Surely We Scale actually kind of lost the teamfight that took place before that, so that could be some really good value coming out for Hots Chads going forward. A nice little engage attempt, gonna find some good value in the Tie-Dye Tights. Jep is actually still going for it. They get the kill. Ulysses is low as well. Kaga doing what they can, are going to keep them nice and topped up. Neemzed is getting engaged on, and the taunt is available once again. Stukov finds the kill, not be able to find the taunt, however. Really nicely defended coming out from Hots Chads, who are in fact on fire, as somebody said in the chat. It was King of Hots. They said, the Chads are hot tonight. They did not say on fire. My apologies for paraphrasing incorrectly. Offlane things. Doesn't everybody love watching the offlane? It's the nice calming killing of minion. You know what? I'm gonna let it stand. Liquoring Dripping, you updated your game from cheapest viewers to best viewers, and that's exactly what we're looking for here, so you can stay. I appreciate you. Kept getting picked up in the bottom lane. Level 10s are going to be online. About a half a level lead in advance for Hots Chads. I don't know if they're going to be able to do a whole lot off of it, however. Ulysses playing far enough back that they're not going to find any purchase onto a potential Zagara kill. Unless, perhaps it comes out in the form of a slowing Sands engage, because I forgot to mention, Chromie gets that talent a little bit earlier. Let's check out the top lane. Ravenex is doing a really good job here. That jet prop missing is probably the only reason Codename Zero is still alive. Curse Bullet flowing, swipe, and ooh, is that Warbringer? Warbringer. You don't tend to see that with taunt variant, but you see it on occasion to allow them more frequent engages. 10's getting picked up for their opponents. We hadn't talked about it, but it is Flame Stomp build coming out from the Diablo, which is what you tend to see paired with Lightning Breath, so not a huge surprise there. The Maw is very expected. Scarlet Aegis Rain of Vengeance, and a to-be-determined bunker drop coming out from Blaze. On the whole, I would say pretty expected heroics here for both teams. The Warbringer being, in my opinion, the biggest single surprise. Now, I said that surely that Hots Chads are going to have to change up their strategy coming into game number 3, and they kinda haven't. Not really. They're just getting smaller and smaller amounts of value from it. I was wrong. It's Combustion. That is now the most surprising level 10 getting picked up here by a significant margin. I mean, it's nice versus Samuro specifically, kind of. But whenever Samuro uses his D or his Q, he cleanses all damage over time effects. So I don't know. I don't know. Codename Zero gonna shaky shake down into the bottom lane, help Chromie? Yeah, Chromie doesn't even need help. Could use some help. We have Anderhall Anomaly, so you're gonna see the bunker built up by Chromie. Codename Zero coming into the back, mostly just, I think, to scare the members of Surely We Scale. Cleanse does come out, but it's not gonna get him out of dodge quick enough. A huge maw, but can Surely We Scale find anything off the back of it? The only thing they can find is a full-on retreat. As just a really well-executed engage coming off the back of Varian once again. Like, Varian compositions do one thing, but if the one thing that they do keeps working, then why do you need to adjust your strategy? Just keep doing it again. And frankly, it's been working, so I can't even complain. Ulysses is going to see this camp come out, but absolutely nothing that they can do about it. It might be the case that Hots Chads gave up the goat a little early. Yeah, if Varian didn't come back, I think that Surely We Scale had an opportunity to come back in here, try to maybe snipe out the rest of this objective. We have 2 members for Surely We Scale out of here, so really look for Hots Chads to find something off of one of these Punisher jumps. The first one is going to get cleansed out by Kaga. A little bit of maybe miscommunication coming out as we got the cleanse and the soul shield coming in at the same time, which means neither of those are going to be available for the second Punisher jump, and there is a big opportunity here for Hots Chads to find some potential damage. Not looking for potential damage. I understand putting the Slowing Sands in the wall. I'd like to have seen it used basically as follow-up CC to Punisher jumps so that you can put a lot of damage in. But going into the safer play of just kind of pushing out, Codename Zero actually going to get taken out by the grenades. Really nicely done by Tie-Dye Tights. Not a major advantage really for either of the teams at this point, so there's no way that Hots Chads will be able to continue pushing through onto that keep, as they're going to continue to lose out on value in top lane, with Zagara picking up the mid-soak. I think Ravenex might just stick around here for a while. Ban Stukov. Stukov is more annoying than he is good. Changed my mind. For as much action as we've had in this game, and it is, to be fair, 6 kills to 1 in favor of Hots Chads, we've kind of slowed down at this point. Only 2 buildings going down, only one of them off the back of an objective, no talent share advantage. Meme Zed, very liberal usage with these soul shields, could end up biting him in the backside if he ends up getting engaged upon while that cooldown is down again. Gonna find a nice little charge and flip combo, but is gonna get taunted out of it. That is definitely gonna be a taunt silence reset. However, the Lightning Breath is going to secure that kill onto there. Chromie doing a lot to save Chicken Ya there. Likely the only reason that they are surviving through to make this disengage is that time trap. Yeah, I was complaining about the game tempo slowing down, and then we just get kills out from nothing. A lot of damage coming out once again from Cyanide. Not going to find any permanent value from that, but, you know, temporary damage is the first thing to getting some permanent damage. Urian has the taunt up, and Kaga is very low once again. Mimzed not taking tower shots, so Chicken Meow not looking to make an engagement happen when they only have the 1 DPS hero available, but once again, we see just value coming out from Samuro. He's been all over the map, just slowly chipping at buildings, slowly getting pressure, and very quickly getting those XP advantages. Even going to come in here and try to snipe out the mid port. Is going to use the Shikuchi, something like that. Shikuchi, yeah, to get that little dimensional hop, just to keep him nice and safe from a potential overpower engage on Meme's. We can see Hotchad's trying to poke this out, but the big combustion is going to find a lot of damage and slow. That is certainly one kill, likely a second, possibly even a third if they can find Mimias. That is absolutely lined up in Diablo's favor, and 3 for nothing. The keep fort does fall, but you gotta ask the caster question, at what cost? The cost was your own fort and 3 kills in the start of the objective phase. So, certainly not in favor of Hotchads at this point. Alright, big fan of this play coming out from Surely We Scale, keeping just their offlaner on the objective and having 4-man pushing in the lane that the objective will eventually be pushing in. It does give an opportunity for Codename Zero to find some of these Shrine Monkeys, but he's low on cooldowns. He's gonna still be able to get out of there because he's Samuro. And they were able to steal 9 Shrine Monkeys over, but the entirety of the front wall going down here, if the objective goes to Surely We Scale, they have a big opportunity for damage. Surely We Scale have backed all the way out. I think they got poked up by the Chromie Zagara damage. Big Curse Bullet gonna hit Beamzed. Codename Zero, he does hop on in, is trying to mess up the backline, doesn't find anything of particular value. Big Stukov combo, I think that's probably a reset, and a big shooting gallery available for him. A surprisingly little amount of damage has actually gone out so far, but Chicken Meow is going to get evaporated eventually there. With the slowing sands and the lurking, that is certainly going to be another reset. Some good damage is coming out again, but the objective, importantly, going over in favor of Surely We Scale, and Jep in a bit of a rough spot, but Cyanide doing a really good job of peeling with the slowing sands. Objective pushing through mid lane. It is a frozen Punisher, so this building is not the defense that it used to be. And you can see Memezed is stepping up very aggressively, gets shot in the face for his looking. Mimias, I think, not getting a reset there. There's not an incredible follow-up hero to these Punisher jumps. You see Ravenex setting up for a Jet propulsion follow-up onto the jump. Actually jumps down, and Jet prop goes up. Jet is still going to get taken out, though. Punisher came down on here onto the Chromie. Little, probably unnecessary timeout there. A lot of damage coming out, but is going to get healed off largely by White Mame. Varian going down. That's kind of hard to do. Varian has the biggest health, I believe, in the tank roster. Codename's going to get taken out as well, and what from a keep is now looking like a likely core attempt for the side of Surely We Scale, as only the healer and Chromie are alive for the witness of their core falling in game number 3, and the series will be a 2-1 fashion in favor of Surely We Scale. Goddamn, Ravenex. You know how to kill minions, and I'm a big fan of that. Cyanide knows how to put buckets of damage out, and especially in the early game, it did lead to kills, but they just weren't quite able to pull it together in the late game. Choose that prediction. Big payout for the Surely We Scale believers. This time, Mimias getting the better of Kaga in the healing numbers department, but this is one of the cases where the team... once again, the team that dealt them more damage healed them more damage. It's not what you tend to see, but a lot of the White Mane value tends to come out in the form of this guy right here. 40 armor for 4 seconds is absolutely massive. Whitemane not known for their top-up potential, but very strong in a team fight. Any other interesting things to note? No crazy self-healing. No, like, massive damage outliers. Congrats to Cyanide and Raven X for entering the No Death Club this game. Oh! A nice kill differential between the two teams. That is, I think, the last thing of note. But let's see if we can get somebody from Surely We Scale in here for a post-game interview. Gonna hop into a public channel and see if somebody joins me. Gotta say, I'm a big fan of... hello there. Congratulations on your 2-1 victory.
Oh, thank you. That was an experience. Game two especially.
Yeah, my favorite thing that happened this entire series was in Game 2, where your team won an objective fight, got 2 shots, and 3 shots went in against you in top lane from a camp.
Oh, my God.
Actually, 2 of my favorite things happened in that game. I've never seen a core shot go out before the first objective before, but you guys got that in bottom lane.
Yeah, that was crazy. We knew they would do the macro thing there, so I was just like, all right, we shoved this in. But I've never seen that either.
I've seen very occasionally both teams will try to cheese a lane and go, well, if we stop trying to push and defend, we'll lose more than...
they're gonna get. It's kind of like a chicken.
And so both teams just kind of kept pushing. And I think that's not even the wrong answer on a map that big.
I was really stuck on what to do there. Shot calling that game was a nightmare because they could just push our structures down faster than we could deep push. But that initial start, I was just like, well, bottom is better than top because we can get pumpkins in. And it worked out a little bit with those shots, but I don't know. I feel like we trolled after we took it, and then we maybe could have taken both bot camps and shoved both in. I wasn't sure about that.
Yeah. To exactly your point, they were able to take more things on the map quicker than you could get them back. Like, your team would take top keep back on your side, where your opponents would take bottom keep and also one of the bottom camps, while having control of mid, so then y'all would rotate to mid or bot, and they would be able to defend or push top at the same time. That looked like the hardest game to play.
It was... I am kind of, a little not upset. I was like, they played really well, and, we saw them do this strategy. We knew they would do it, and they still owned it with us.
Oh, that's the worst. I hate knowing what the opponent is going to do and still losing to it.
And I have that, part of me is wondering about, okay, what could we change in draft? I think there were a couple of instances, though, where, we just trolled. I think I'll have to look back. I think there were some bad fights where we either played too fast or I didn't call for a light bomb properly. And so, it would go on me after I would dig in. And then it would be like, oh, yeah, I could have called for that. But then we killed 3 of them on a top altar, and then boss was up. And I think what we should have done at that point was take 1 or 2 altars, take the cap, and then do boss. But I don't know if they would have let us, because they had 3 dead at that point. So that was something I was sort of kicking myself on. The other part was on that final fight. And I was thinking, I was like, man, this must be such a fun game to cast, insofar as it came down to an absolute nail biter at the end of 2 shots to 3. And on that final fight, I was on the mid altar and they were like 2v2 bottom and they were losing bottom and I was getting stalled by the Asmo mid. And I was like, I really should have just like dug through to the tunnel, cocooned him, and then gone back to cap it. But it was a game. So props to them. That was such an amazing, like a really good game, really well played on their part. And not enjoyable, but I respect it.
Yeah, it's a weird game in that it started very exciting because of the fort race, and then it kind of got a lot less exciting actually until level 10 happened. Like, your team is just better than theirs pre-10. Like, Samuro is not a good hero pre-10.
I think we got baited. Yeah, like Samuro, especially like pre-7, he doesn't really do anything. And so I definitely noticed. I was like, well, Sam's not getting much now. I think we kind of got baited by that taking their bot tower, and we didn't all just like full reset and play really aggressively. We kind of got stuck into like defending, and we were all like half HP, a little low in mana and resources. And it felt like even if we back then, they take our bot tower. So I was like, I don't want to, like, we needed to just full reset and then start running at them again, which we didn't do.
Yeah, and they were able to like just slowly gain momentum over the course of the game.
Yeah,
until the point where like even at the end where you guys won a pretty convincing team fight, but you also only owned one keep at the time. They actually 6-capped you twice, but none both times you got the a building back before any shots went out.
That was like God.
Game was wild, but it wasn't the only game in the series, and the others also bear some talking about. So how do y'all feel about Alterac Pass, given that your opponents had map picks in all 3 games?
We were kind of entertained. Like, we scouted these guys and we had a sense of what they liked, and we that's why we banned Garden actually. But we saw they liked Alterac, and we've played a decent amount of Alterac, so I was pretty happy to see that come up. I was like, oh, okay, we know how to do that one. And they played it decently well. There was one or two we were laughing really hard where I think it was on the mid keep. We were knocking the keep down, and then our Greymane got hooked into their core. And there was some discussion, and it came down to just, well, you can't stand there. Like, there's a whole keep to stand behind. You don't have to stand behind the keep to get hooked. So it was a bit of a, yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah, and both teams drafted the funny cheese, where you have something that can take enough aggro off of the defenders so you can get the one-person channel, and you both did that like 7 times each. I actually just realized that Samuro was played in all 3 games. It's weird. You don't see that ever.
I mean, we talked about it because, like, I actually think his best game was game 3. Game 2 was decent. Like, he did his job there as well. But, like, he was the most annoying in game 3 because he went damage build. Because we've played a lot of Anoop, we know how to OBJ cheese. And, like, I have a pretty good understanding of how it works. Like, there were 1 or 2 moments where, like, I think we won a team fight and there Sam had cheesed us. We'd had to back up. And we had, like, 3 seconds left on our cap, which I think they gave us that for free. They shouldn't have let us retake that. But I remember calling, be like, okay, Samuro is going to cheese. Dahaka go babysit it. Like, you just have to sit there because he can't cap if you're there. And sure enough, like a second after Dahaka got there, like as the other 4 of us are sitting on theirs, Samuro showed up. And then there's the other moment of he got some cap going, and we were caught in kind of a bind of like, because one person can't really deal with that. You need to send 2. And then I think at one point we had 4 people trying to chase off the Samuro, which is happy Samuro noises there. And it's just, it's annoying.
I've said for years, Samuro dying is a choice. So, 4 people chasing does not even come close to guaranteeing a dead Samuro.
No, I mean, I have kind of mixed feelings about that insofar as you can kill Samuro if your team is really on it, but if you don't, you troll all your cooldowns and he just walks out and you're sort of sitting there going, we did the thing again.
Yeah, and oftentimes, even if you committed so many heroes and so many cooldowns to doing it, it's like, was it even worth it?
Yeah. That being said, like game 3, especially when he took stacking, it was kind of like he gave so much vision, and because we couldn't easily punish it, and we were sort of like, I'm not going to waste cooldowns on that. I think he got a lot of value there because we get like they were able to muscle in on Shrine on us a couple times because we were having to be like deal with a Samuro in the back who's like kind of just tickling us, but giving them vision, and we can't step up to like look when they try and take an engage.
To Kaga in the chat, fun fact, you cannot cleanse a hook after it lands. You can pre-cleanse it, and if you have Anduin, you can undo it because his pull stops the hook. But if you
really, I didn't know that.
Yeah, but for any traditional cleanse, you have to land it before the hook hits, because if the hook hits, giving them unstoppable will not stop them from being pulled.
Wow. I didn't know that.
It's some bullshit. I hate that interaction so much.
Yeah, the Stitches game one, there was definitely like one or two moments. I think they got like 2 or 3 kills off Gorges. But we were sort of watching out for it.
I remember, I think the first Gorge attempt, there was a hook Gorge, and you just kind of killed him for it.
Yes, on the mid fort.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the thing. We kind of were like, okay, Stitches is a little weird here. Like, it gives you that pick potential, but it doesn't really give you a front line, and they didn't have anything we had to be afraid of in game one. There was nothing where we were like, oh, okay, like, we just go on them, and unless we're under their fort, we should be able to kill them.
I think that Jaina is very scary for your comp if she's not your kill target, because look how much front line you have.
Yeah.
Like, if a fight takes 8 seconds, Jaina is a machine gun versus that much melee.
I remember 1 or 2 fights, where she had, like, when she hit 16, it would be, I remember seeing our heroes and just being like, oh, that's bad. We didn't hit her.
This has been one of the rambliest interviews I've ever conducted. Largely because it was 75% about one hero.
Oh, yep. Well, that's Samuro. You sort of,
Yeah.
We didn't ban him, though.
He does warp the game around him. I guess that's a question. Why? I'll give you... I mean, you said you scouted, knew that that's the kind of thing that they were going to do. I'm surprised then you wouldn't ban it at least on Alterac, where it seems like he would be the most expected.
So... we didn't ban it because, to be honest, I think Samuro's he's not a good offlaner. Like, he does certain things, but he does not bring other things that are really impactful. He's not a hogger. He doesn't bring hard CC. He can threaten you, but unless your team, like, he can't stop you killing his team. And he can't, until, like, 16 or later, like, easily kill your backline. So I would rather let a Samuro through, even though it's really annoying, than deal with something that's worse or that has more utility for the rest of his team. And for Alterac, I was pretty confident of we can take care of the cheesing because a noob wants to cheese. So, like, you should be doing the same thing. Or even, like, if you give first or second OGPTA, who cares? Especially with our comp. Or it wasn't super scaly. So, yeah, that's my answer of, like, I would rather deal with Samuro, annoying as he is, than something else that blows our team up.
That's fair. You have been reasonably confident in your team fights from what I've noticed across the now 3 matches I think I've seen you play.
Oh, yeah. Go on. Do you have a question or something?
Yeah. Why does RavenX not like Hogger?
RavenX likes a nice bit of variety, and I think... we've been experimenting. Like, he'll play a bit of Hogger. We'll do it.
Sorry, you're getting called out right now.
Am I?
Yeah.
What am I getting called out for?
Says the person that didn't have to lane against it from RavenX.
Raven's probably really and there was several one. I think shout out to Raven. He killed. I remember he killed Samuro 1v1 top at some point in our towers game, which was absolutely, I was like, wow, that's not meant to happen.
Yeah, I did not see that happen until there was stuff happening everywhere, but I noticed that he died, and then I go up there and, oh, look, Leap is 7 seconds on cooldown.
Yeah. Oh god.
Yeah, I only asked that because you all had first pick and you first banned Samuro, which is not what you tend to see unless your offlaner just isn't comfortable on the hero.
Yeah. Another thing we noticed, it was sort of, we knew they played a lot of a noob, so we ended up taking. That's why we took it games 1 and 2. It was
That's fair.
especially game 2. We were like, we really don't want them having a noob with the cheese strat.
It seems like you're having a small-scale mutiny about not banning Samuro, but, you know, you're the captain. You get to make those decisions.
I'll bring him back into to heal. We won-ish. Didn't feel like it, but next time I'll maybe concede and we can ban Samuro.
Alrighty, well, that is it for the questions that I've had, so I'm going to throw it on to you for any shoutouts.
Okay, so first of all, shout out to my offlaner for suffering through Samuro 3 games in a row because I was too 4-stack brained to ban it. And then also big shout out to Kagami for playing. She was really sick today, and we were really glad to still have her despite that. And then lastly, big shout out to the Huts Chads. Like, they played really well. And yeah, they sort of depressed noises from us are like, we won, but it doesn't feel like it. So they played a fantastic set of games, and they should be really proud of themselves.
Alrighty. I agree. They comported themselves very nicely tonight. It was a lot of fun to cast.
Oh, yeah. And finally, Hector, thank you so much. I really appreciate the cast. Like, it means a lot to me that you're spending your Friday evening casting us in this game.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for that.
Some might accuse me of some degree of favoritism because I now have cast you 3 times, to which I would counter, no one else scheduled on Friday.
I saw that. It was very funny. I was like, well, yep, there's only one game on Friday.
And, having cast yesterday, I decided I wanted to cast again.
Well, thank you so much. Of the choices of one, I take it as a great honor that you chose the one. All right. You have a great night. Thank you so much.
You as well.
All right. Bye.
Alrighty, that is going to be it for Heroes of the Storm here. And I've got something for y'all a little different. Normally, we raid on over to whomstever else is casting. As established, nobody. Typically, then we look out to the rest of the Heroes of the Storm community and find someone to raid on over there. And I have options there, but I'm going to elect to do none of them and send you over to actually one of my favorite streamers, a Super Smash Bros. Ultimate streamer, Base Mage, world's best Jigglypuff player. That is the character that I have the most fun playing. So, yeah, that's where we're going to send the raid today. Thank you, everybody, for coming by. I really appreciate it, especially when I'm here without my perennial co-caster 7th Ace. I find that my solo casting tends to drop off a lot in quality because I don't have time to drink water and have another person to make jokes with. But really appreciate everybody for coming by. And yeah, hopefully I'll see you all next week, and we will see you next time. Bye!